The vast bridge of the unyielding claw hummed with activity as Admiral Vexnar surveyed his crew. Tall and imposing even among his own kind, the Craxian commander's armored exoskeleton gleamed under the ship's lights. 4 powerful arms remained, clasped behind his back as he studied the main viewscreen. The Craxian race had evolved on Crax Prime, a world with triple Earth's gravity, toxic atmosphere, and extreme temperature swings. Their bodies told the story of their harsh evolution. Thick chitinous plating covered vital areas, while secondary and tertiary organs provided redundancy against injury. Their sensory stalks could detect radiation, heat variations, and minute vibrations from considerable distances. These adaptations had served them well. When the Craxians developed space travel and encountered other sentient species, they quickly realized their unique advantage. Most intelligent life evolved on gentle worlds with stable climates and benign environments. The Craxians, shaped by the crucible of their homeworld, were physically superior in almost every way. Within 3 centuries, they had risen to prominence in the Galactic Council, becoming its military backbone and protectors. Other species called them the Apex Deathworlders, a title the Craxians wore with pride. "Admiral," called Science Officer Zikra from her station, her voice carrying the distinctive clicking undertone of their species. "We've detected unusual transmissions from Sector 87 Delta." Vexnar turned, his armored limbs shifting with practiced grace despite their weight. "Elaborate, primitive radio signals mainly, but what's strange is the origin world." Zikra's sensory stalks quivered with excitement. "According to our scans, it has environmental conditions that should make complex life nearly impossible." Vexnar moved to her station, studying the data with interest. The planet was small, with large water bodies and varied land masses. Nothing remarkable at first glance, but the readings scrolling alongside the image told a different story. "These can't be correct," he muttered. "High gravity, extreme temperature variations, constant radiation from its star, active geological disturbances, aggressive microbial life." "The readings have been verified, Admiral," Zikra confirmed. "And yet, we're picking up clear signs of a technological civilization." This was unusual enough to warrant personal investigation. In his 200 cycles of service, Vexnar had never encountered a species from a world that could rival Crax Prime in hostility. "Plot a course," he commanded, "and inform First Contact Specialist Mekra to prepare a diplomatic package. I want a full military contingent ready as well." "Expecting trouble, Admiral?" asked his second-in-command Sub-Admiral Drell. "Unknown variables require preparation," Vexnar replied simply. It was a core tenet of Craxian military philosophy. The journey took 17 standard cycles. During transit, the science team gathered more information about the mysterious planet and its inhabitants. "They call it Earth," reported lead scientist Karax during the final briefing. "And they refer to themselves as humans." The gathered officers watched as images appeared on the display. Strange bipedal creatures with no apparent natural armor, possessing only 2 arms and legs, with soft-looking external coverings in various colors. "These are the dominant species?" asked Vexnar skeptically. "Yes, Admiral. Despite appearances, they've built a global civilization with early spacefaring capabilities. They've visited their moon and sent unmanned probes to nearby planets. Impressive for their technological level," noted Mekra, the First Contact Specialist. Her duties required understanding of various species, and she'd studied the transmissions extensively. "Their social structures are complex. They have thousands of different languages and cultural groups." Vexnar studied the images more carefully. "They appear physically fragile. How do they survive in such conditions?" Karax's sensory stalks twitched in what the crew recognized as confusion. "That's what puzzles us, Admiral. They lack redundant organs, have no natural armor, and their sensory capabilities are quite limited. Yet they've not only survived, but thrived. Perhaps they've adapted their environment rather than their bodies," suggested Mekra. "Many non-Death World species use technology to modify their surroundings." "A reasonable theory," Vexnar agreed. "We'll soon discover the truth." As the unyielding claw entered the Earth's solar system, they observed with growing interest. The humans had established a small orbital station around their planet. Primitive by Council standards, but an achievement for a young species. "They've detected us," reported the communications officer. "They're broadcasting a greeting message." "On screen," ordered Vexnar. A human appeared, pink-skinned with a covering of dark fur on top of its head. It wore some kind of fabric uniform. "Greetings to the unknown vessel approaching Earth. This is Commander Susan Wright of the International Space Station. We come in peace and welcome peaceful contact. We've prepared a mathematical language key to assist with communication." Vexnar was impressed by their foresight. "They're handling first contact remarkably well for a pre-council species," he observed. The Craxian translation systems quickly decoded the human languages using the provided key. Vexnar authorized a response. "This is Admiral Vexnar of the Galactic Council vessel Unyielding Claw. We come in peace to establish diplomatic relations." Over the next few hours, they arranged a meeting aboard the human space station. The Craxians would send a small delegation led by Vexnar himself, with Mekra and a security detail. As they prepared to board the shuttle, Mekra approached the Admiral. "Our preliminary analysis suggests we should wear light battle armor," she advised. "It will protect us while not appearing overtly threatening." Vexnar nodded in agreement. "A wise precaution. These humans have survived conditions that should have made their evolution impossible. Until we understand how, we should remain vigilant." The shuttle departed the unyielding claw, moving toward the small human station orbiting the blue-green world. Vexnar felt an unfamiliar sensation as he watched the approaching structure. Curiosity mixed with a hint of unease. Throughout his long career, he had encountered many species, but none from a world that rivaled his own. These humans were an anomaly, a puzzle. How had such seemingly fragile creatures survived, even prospered, in conditions that should have broken them? "We're docking now, Admiral," reported the pilot. Vexnar straightened his massive frame. Whatever secrets these humans held, he was determined to discover them. The galaxy had known one apex Deathworld species for generations. Could there possibly be another? The airlock door slid open with a soft hiss. Admiral Vexnar had to duck his massive frame to enter the human space station. The air smelled strange, filtered and recycled, but with unfamiliar chemical traces. His sensory stalks twitched, analyzing everything. Two humans waited in the small chamber beyond. One was the same female from the transmission, Commander Susan Wright. Beside her stood a male with darker skin. Both wore blue uniforms with patches showing symbols and writing. "Welcome to the International Space Station," said Susan, raising her hand in what appeared to be a greeting gesture. "I'm Commander Susan Wright, and this is Colonel Alan Garcia." Vexnar noticed immediately how small they were. The top of Susan's head barely reached his midsection. Their skin looked terribly vulnerable, with no protective plating. Their senses seemed limited to basic eyes and ears. How did such creatures navigate their dangerous world? "I am Admiral Vexnar of the Unyielding Claw," he responded, his translator converting his clicks and rumbles into human speech. "This is First Contact Specialist Mekra and my security team." The humans showed no fear despite being in the presence of beings twice their size covered in natural armor, with multiple limbs that could easily crush them. Vexnar found their composure remarkable. "We've prepared a meeting room," said Alan. "If you'll follow us. We've adjusted the gravity in that section to match your home planet's specifications based on our scans of your ship." Vexnar exchanged glances with Mekra. These humans had analyzed their vessel and made environmental adjustments in the brief time since first contact. Impressive. The meeting room was small by Craxian standards but functional. The humans had attached themselves to the floor with magnetic boots to handle the increased gravity. Vexnar noticed they moved more slowly but showed no signs of distress despite the crushing weight that should have incapacitated most non-Deathworld species. "We've prepared information about Earth and our species," Susan said, activating a display screen. "We're very interested in learning about your civilization as well." The presentation began with basic information about Earth, its position in the solar system, composition, and environmental conditions. The data confirmed what the Craxians had detected: a planet with deadly radiation levels, extreme temperature variations, powerful storms, tectonic activity, and countless pathogens. "Your world seems quite challenging," observed Mekra, studying the information with interest. "How has your species adapted to these conditions?" Susan smiled. "We don't consider Earth particularly harsh. Most of our adaptations are technological rather than biological. We build shelters, wear protective clothing, and develop medicines." "Fascinating," said Mekra. "Our evolution took a different path. Crax Prime's conditions forced our bodies to develop natural defenses." Alan looked at the armored Craxians with obvious interest. "Your physiological adaptations are remarkable. We've always wondered what forms alien life might take." The meeting continued for several hours. The humans explained their history, social structures, and technological development. The Craxians shared information about the Galactic Council and their role as protectors. "So your species is known as the Apex Deathworlders?" asked Alan. "That's quite a title." "It is well earned," replied Vexnar with pride. "Most sentient species evolve on gentle worlds. The harsh conditions of our planet created stronger beings." Susan and Alan exchanged looks that Vexnar couldn't interpret. "Would you like to tour the station?" Susan offered. "It's limited compared to your vessel, but it represents humanity's first steps into space." As they moved through the station, Vexnar observed the humans closely. Despite the increased gravity, they continued to function, though with visible effort. Their endurance was surprising for beings with such seemingly fragile bodies. At one point, an alarm sounded. A small fire had broken out in one of the modules. The humans responded quickly, moving toward the danger rather than away from it. Vexnar watched as Alan entered the affected area without protective gear, extinguished the fire, and returned coughing but unharmed. "Are you injured?" asked Mekra, genuinely concerned. "Just a bit of smoke inhalation," Alan replied, his voice rough. "Nothing serious." Vexnar noted this response with interest. The human had breathed toxic combustion products and dismissed it as a minor issue. Later, as the tour continued, Susan explained their research projects. "We're studying the effects of microgravity on human physiology. Long-term space habitation presents challenges for our bodies." "What sort of challenges?" asked Mekra. "Muscle atrophy, bone density loss, radiation exposure," Susan explained. "Our bodies evolved for Earth conditions. Space is harsh by comparison." This statement puzzled Vexnar deeply. If humans considered space harsh compared to Earth, what did that imply about their homeworld? The visit concluded with an agreement for further diplomatic exchanges. The Craxians would send representatives to Earth, and human delegates would visit the unyielding Claw. Back on their shuttle, Vexnar's team discussed their observations. "Their physical fragility is obvious," noted Security Chief Dorak. "No natural weapons, thin skin, limited senses. Yet they function in gravity that would crush most Council species," countered Mekra. "And did you notice how Commander Wright worked for 12 consecutive hours without rest? Most species require recovery periods." Vexnar remained silent, processing what he had witnessed. Something about these humans didn't align with conventional understanding of evolutionary biology. 2 days later, the human delegates arrived on the unyielding Claw. Susan and Alan were accompanied by 4 other humans, 2 scientists, a diplomat, and a military officer. The Craxian medical team performed standard health screenings. Their findings caused immediate concern. "Admiral," reported Chief Medical Officer Torlak, "these humans have only one heart, no backup organs. Their bones contain hollow spaces. Their skin offers virtually no protection against physical trauma." "How do they survive on their world?" asked Vexnar. "Unknown, sir, but there's more. Their cellular structure shows damage and repair patterns consistent with constant exposure to harmful radiation and toxins. Their immune systems are in a perpetual state of war against pathogens." Vexnar considered this information carefully. Could our scans be misinterpreting their biology? Unlikely, Admiral. We've verified the readings multiple times. The diplomatic meetings proceeded as planned. The humans showed great interest in Craxian technology and culture. They asked intelligent questions and offered valuable insights about their own civilization. During a meal, Vexinar noticed Alan consuming a small red pod that made his face flush and caused him to drink water rapidly. "Is something wrong?" asked Vexinar. "Not at all," Alan replied, smiling despite his obvious discomfort. "Just enjoying some hot peppers from Earth. They contain a compound called capsaicin that causes a burning sensation." "You eat things that cause pain?" asked Mekra in disbelief. "Many humans enjoy the sensation," explained Susan. "Different cultures have developed various spicy foods. Some people build up tolerance over time." Vexinar exchanged glances with his officers. A species that consumed pain-inducing substances for pleasure? What other surprises did these strange creatures hold? The first day of diplomatic talks ended, with more questions than answers about their new human acquaintances. 3 months passed since first contact. The diplomatic relationship between humans and Craxians deepened as both species learned more about each other. A small human delegation had been permitted to visit the Galactic Council headquarters, while Craxian scientists established a research outpost on Earth's moon. Admiral Vexinar sat in his private quarters aboard the unyielding Claw, reviewing the latest reports with growing concern. The data collected about humans challenged everything the Craxians thought they knew about evolution on hostile worlds. A chime sounded, announcing a visitor. "Enter," commanded Vexinar. Science Officer Zekra stepped inside carrying a data tablet. "Admiral, I've completed the comparative analysis you requested." "Proceed," said Vexinar, gesturing to a seat designed for Craxian physiology. "The results are disturbing," admitted Zekra. "We've been monitoring the human delegates closely. They require far less rest than predicted. They consume a wider variety of substances than any council species. Their environmental tolerance ranges are exceptional." Vexinar clicked his mandibles thoughtfully. "Explain." "The human named Bill Jones has been awake for 22 consecutive hours, showing only minimal decline in cognitive function. The female, Ruth Martinez, deliberately exposed herself to near-freezing water in what they call a cold plunge for health benefits. And yesterday I observed the scientist, Paul Lee, consume a beverage containing ethanol, a substance most species recognize as toxic. Perhaps they've developed artificial enhancements," suggested Vexinar. Zikra's sensory stalks drooped slightly. "Our scans detect no implants or genetic modifications. This appears to be their natural state." A troubling thought had been forming in Vexinar's mind over recent weeks. Could our understanding of Deathworlds be incomplete? Before Zekra could answer, the communication system activated. "Admiral, the human cultural presentation is beginning in the main hall. We will continue this discussion later," said Vexinar, rising from his seat. The main hall had been prepared for the event. Craxian officers and crew members gathered to learn more about their new allies. The human delegation stood at the front, with Chief Historian Kelly Davies prepared to speak. "Thank you for this opportunity," began Kelly, activating a display screen. "Today I'd like to share an overview of human history and how it shaped our development." The presentation began with early human evolution. Vexinar watched with increasing fascination as Kelly explained how primitive humans had survived using intelligence rather than physical adaptations. "Unlike many species, we didn't develop thick hides, claws, or venomous secretions," Kelly explained. "Instead, we created tools, developed language, and formed social groups." Images showed early humans pursuing prey across hot savannas. "One of our evolutionary advantages was persistence hunting," continued Kelly. "Humans can't run as fast as many animals, but we can run for much longer. We would chase prey until they collapsed from heat exhaustion, something we could withstand due to our efficient cooling through sweating." This information caused murmurs among the Craxian audience. Most species avoided heat rather than developing mechanisms to endure it. The presentation continued through human history, the development of agriculture, the rise and fall of empires, technological advancements, Kelly highlighted how humans had survived countless challenges: ice ages, plagues, wars, natural disasters. The most remarkable aspect of human history, noted Kelly, is our adaptability. Humans live in virtually every environment on Earth, from Arctic regions with temperatures below freezing to deserts where daytime temperatures exceed 120 degrees Fahrenheit. Vexnar interrupted. You claim ordinary humans can survive in these extreme environments without technological assistance? Certainly, replied Kelly. Indigenous peoples in northern regions have lived in sub-zero temperatures for thousands of years using only basic tools and clothing. Desert dwellers have adapted to heat and water scarcity through behavioral and cultural practices. Later in the presentation, Kelly showed images of human recreational activities that left the Craxians stunned. People climbing sheer mountain faces without safety equipment, diving to ocean depths, deliberately jumping from high places attached to thin fabric parachutes, and racing at dangerous speeds in primitive vehicles. These activities are done for pleasure? Asked Mekra incredulously. Yes, smiled Ruth. Humans often seek out challenges and dangerous situations voluntarily. We call it adventure or extreme sports. The risk creates excitement. After the presentation concluded, Vexnar invited the human delegation to join him and his senior officers for a meal. As they ate, the discussion continued. Your history mentions numerous wars between human groups, noted Vexnar. This suggests your species is naturally aggressive. Paul nodded. We have a complex relationship with conflict. Humans can be territorial and tribal, but we're also capable of remarkable cooperation and empathy. And your technological development, accelerated during periods of warfare? Asked Zikra. Unfortunately, yes, admitted Kelly. Many of our advances in medicine, materials science, and computing originated from military research. It's a troubling aspect of our nature that danger and competition often drive innovation. Vexnar found this information deeply concerning. A species that thrived on challenge and developed faster under threat was unpredictable. After the meal, Vexnar proposed a physical demonstration. Our cultural exchange would benefit from understanding each other's capabilities, he suggested. Would your delegation participate in a series of physical tests alongside Craxian volunteers? Bill smiled. We'd be happy to, though I should warn you that we may not impress in terms of raw strength or speed. The following day they gathered in the ship's training facility. 3 Craxian warriors, among the finest in the fleet, would compete against the human Bill in a series of endurance exercises. The first test was simply maintaining a standing position in high gravity. The Craxians, naturally adapted to such conditions, showed no strain. To their surprise, Bill remained upright as well, though perspiring heavily. How are you managing this? Asked Dorak, the Craxian security chief. It's uncomfortable, admitted Bill, but not unbearable. Our muscles and skeletal structure can handle short-term exposure to increased gravitational forces. The second test involved temperature tolerance. A chamber was set to alternate between hot and cold extremes. The Craxians, with their regulated internal systems, performed well within expected parameters. Bill's results were shocking. His body temperature fluctuated but remained within safe ranges. He sweated profusely during heat exposure and shivered during cold, but showed no signs of serious distress. Your species lacks internal temperature regulation comparable to ours, noted Zikra. Yet you're maintaining homeostasis through these primitive mechanisms of sweating and shivering? That's correct, replied Bill. We're quite good at it. The final test was designed to measure endurance, a continuous running exercise in moderately increased gravity. 2 hours into the activity, the Craxian participants were showing signs of fatigue, their powerful bodies reaching biological limits. Bill, though clearly struggling, continued running. After 4 hours, the last Craxian warrior conceded. Muscles burning with exertion, Bill was still running. How? Demanded Vexnar, truly astonished for the first time in many cycles. Between controlled breaths, Bill explained, persistence hunting. It's in our evolutionary history when we just Keep going. That evening, Vexnar called an emergency meeting with his senior staff. The implications of what they had witnessed could not be ignored. These humans, he said gravely, aren't merely surviving on a death world. They were shaped by it in ways we never imagined possible. Admiral Vexnar stood before the Galactic Council, his massive frame straight and proud despite his inner turmoil. The Grand Chamber held representatives from 27 spacefaring civilizations. At the center sat the 7 High Counselors, the oldest and most respected members of the galactic community. Admiral, began High Counselor Tralix, her delicate crystalline form glittering under the chamber lights. Your report on the humans has caused great concern. Please elaborate for the full council. Vexnar activated the display system with one of his 4 arms. Images of Earth and its inhabitants appeared above the chamber floor. Esteemed counselors, 3 standard months ago, we discovered a previously unknown species on a planet designated as Earth. Initial scans classified it as a Category 5 death world. Extreme temperature variations, high gravity, deadly radiation, levels, aggressive microorganisms, and constant geological instability. The council members shifted uncomfortably. Most had evolved on worlds classified as Category 1 or 2, stable, gentle environments. Based on established evolutionary models, we expected to find a species with extensive biological adaptations similar to Craxians, armored bodies, redundant organs, enhanced senses. Vexnar paused. What we found challenges our fundamental understanding of evolutionary development. The display showed human physiology scans alongside Craxian comparative data. Humans appear, at first assessment, to be a Category 2 species. Minimal natural defenses, single-system organs, limited sensory range, yet they not only survive but thrive on their Category 5 world. How is this possible? Asked Counselor Dravna, a gaseous entity contained within an environmental suit. Their adaptation strategy differs fundamentally from ours, explained Vexnar. Where Craxians evolved physical resilience, humans developed extreme adaptability. They can function in environments ranging from sub-zero to desert heat with minimal technological assistance. Their bodies recover from injury at remarkable rates. Science Director Ulevin, who had joined the Craxian delegation, added her observations. Most concerning is their psychological profile. Humans actively seek out danger and challenge. They deliberately expose themselves to harsh conditions to condition their bodies. You suggest this species enjoys hardship? Asked Trellix skeptically. They call it building character, or pushing limits, confirmed Vexnar. Their entertainment often simulates disaster scenarios. Their training practices intentionally incorporate discomfort and stress. The council chamber filled with uneasy murmurs. A species that willingly embraced hardship was unprecedented and potentially unpredictable. What are their capabilities compared to Craxians? Asked Counselor Mortuck, the only other Deathworld representative besides the Craxians. In terms of raw strength and durability, Craxians remain superior, said Vexnar. However, humans demonstrate exceptional endurance, temperature adaptability, and recovery capacity. Most notably, they show remarkable problem-solving abilities under stress, a trait rarely observed in other species. Are they a threat? Trellix asked directly. Vexnar considered his answer carefully. Not immediately. They've shown only peaceful intentions and genuine interest in joining the galactic community. However, their potential is concerning. He displayed new data. In just 3 months of limited cultural exchange, human engineers have proposed 17 modifications to our standard FTL drive design that would increase efficiency by 22%. Their medical researchers have improved our nanosurgical techniques using surprisingly simple approaches. Their military historians have identified strategic weaknesses in our standard defense formations that no other species has noted in 3 centuries. The council fell silent as the implications became clear. They learn quickly, summarized Vexnar. They adapt to new information and challenges faster than any species we've encountered. Given access to advanced technology and knowledge, their development curve would be unprecedented. After hours of deliberation, The Council reached a decision. Humans would be welcomed cautiously into the galactic community, but with restrictions on technology transfer and territorial expansion. Most importantly, the Craxians would be assigned as their mentors and monitors. 2 weeks later, the first official human ambassadors arrived at the Council homeworld. Captain Linda Morris and diplomatic envoy Scott Phillips had been selected to represent Earth. Vexnar met them at the spaceport, observing how they reacted to the alien environment. The Council homeworld had lower gravity and higher oxygen content than Earth, conditions chosen for the comfort of the majority of member species. Ambassador Phillips, Captain Morris, welcome, said Vexnar. How are you finding our world? Quite pleasant, replied Linda with a smile. The lower gravity makes movement effortless, though Scott says it's making him a bit dizzy. My inner ear is still adjusting, Scott explained. Nothing serious. As they walked toward the diplomatic quarters, Vexnar noticed the humans examining everything with intense interest. They asked intelligent questions about architecture, technology, and biology. The Council has arranged a formal reception this evening, Vexnar informed them. Many species are eager to meet Earth's representatives. We're looking forward to it, said Scott. Though I admit the prospect of being the first humans to meet so many alien civilizations is a bit overwhelming. You seem to handle pressure well, observed Vexnar. Linda laughed. That's what they picked us for. Scott once negotiated peace between warring nations while the building he was in was literally on fire. And I've piloted experimental aircraft through hurricane conditions. This casual mention of extraordinary stress tolerance reinforced Vexnar's concerns. That evening, the reception proceeded smoothly until an environmental system malfunction caused the oxygen levels to drop in one section of the hall. While most species retreated in alarm, Linda calmly led several diplomats to safety, showing no signs of distress despite the thinning air. Later, Vexnar questioned her about this. You continued functioning normally even as oxygen decreased to levels that distressed other delegates, Linda shrugged. Humans who climb high mountains regularly deal with thin air. My body compensated by increasing my breathing and heart rate. It was uncomfortable but not dangerous for the short time involved. You train for oxygen deprivation? Asked Vexnar incredulously. Some of us do. Mountain climbers, deep-sea divers, pilots. Many professions require adapting to changing atmospheric conditions. Over the following days, more incidents reinforced the Craxians' growing understanding. Scott worked through a 36-hour diplomatic crisis without sleep. Linda instinctively caught a crystalline delegate who slipped, despite the alien being composed of materials that caused mild chemical burns to human skin. During a private meeting with the Craxian delegation, Vexnar finally asked the question that had been troubling him. Your species seems constantly prepared for disaster. Why? Scott and Linda exchanged glances. Earth has never been a stable environment, Linda explained. Throughout our history, humans have faced ice ages, supervolcanoes, pandemics, meteor impacts. Those who prepared survived. Those who didn't. It became part of our culture, added Scott. We have a saying, hope for the best, prepare for the worst. It might seem pessimistic to always anticipate problems, but it's kept our species alive. Vexnar realized that the Craxians and humans had evolved fundamentally different approaches to survival. Craxians had developed biological defenses against a consistently harsh environment. Humans had developed adaptability to handle an unpredictably harsh environment. Both were Deathworlders, but of entirely different kinds. News of a crisis at the Galactic Rim interrupted their discussion. A previously unknown threat had emerged, overwhelming conventional defenses. The Council was assembling a response force. We want to help, said Linda immediately. This isn't your fight, replied Vexnar. Scott's expression was resolute. If we're joining this galactic community, its problems are our problems too. Vexnar recognized the look in their eyes. It was the same expression humans showed before their endurance tests, a strange eagerness to face challenge. Perhaps, he thought, this unexpected human trait might prove valuable sooner than anyone had anticipated. 5 years passed since first contact between humans and the Galactic Council. The crisis at the Galactic Rim, now known as the Swarm Incursion, had been contained through a joint effort of Craxian military might and human ingenuity. The cooperation had accelerated integration between the two species in ways no one had anticipated. Admiral Vexnar stood in the Earth Embassy gardens on the Council homeworld, watching a small group of human children playing with young Craxians. The scene would have been unimaginable just a few years ago, the massive armored Craxian younglings carefully moderating their strength as they interacted with the smaller humans. "They adapt to each other so quickly," observed Linda Morris, now promoted to Admiral herself and serving as Earth's military liaison to the Council. "Indeed," replied Vexnar. "Our training programs previously required 12 cycles to instill proper force control. These younglings mastered it in 3, simply through regular interaction with humans." Linda smiled. "And our children are becoming more resilient. The doctors say this generation is developing denser bone structure and improved cardiovascular systems just from playing in the higher gravity sections of the colony ships." Earth had expanded rapidly into space, establishing outposts in regions most species avoided, asteroid belts with dangerous radiation, planets with extreme weather patterns, and systems close to unstable stars. Where other species saw danger, humans saw opportunity and resources. "The Council session begins in 1 hour, Linda reminded him. "The vote on the Joint Defense Initiative is today." Vexnar nodded. The proposal would formally establish a combined human-Craxian rapid response force. It was controversial. Many Council species still felt uneasy about how quickly humans had advanced using acquired alien technology. "They fear our differences," noted Vexnar. "Yet I have come to believe that is precisely what makes our alliance valuable." As they walked toward the Council chambers, an emergency alarm sounded. A structural support in one of the walkways had failed, dropping a massive architectural element toward a group of diplomats below. Before Vexnar could react, a human diplomat named Greg Hoffman rushed forward. Despite lacking the strength to stop the falling debris, he positioned himself to redirect it away from the gathered aliens, suffering multiple fractures in the process. Security drones arrived seconds later, stabilizing the situation. Medical. Teams took Greg to the treatment center, where Linda and Vexnar visited him after he received emergency care. "How soon can I return to duty?" Greg asked the Craxian physician. 2 weeks minimum, replied the doctor. "Your skeletal structure requires time to heal. I'll be back in 3 days, Greg stated with certainty. Outside the medical bay, Vexnar and Linda exchanged knowing glances. "The Council worries about humans," Linda noted quietly. "With reason," replied Vexnar. "In 5 years, your species has advanced technologically at a rate that took others centuries. Your colonies are expanding rapidly. Your adaptability continues to surprise us. Is that why the Craxians support us while others remain wary?" asked Linda. Vexnar considered his answer carefully. "Initially, we were assigned to monitor humans because we were considered the only species physically capable of controlling you if necessary," Linda laughed. "And now? Now we recognize something we had forgotten, the value of different approaches to survival. Craxians evolved physical resilience. Humans evolved relentless adaptation. Together, we are stronger than either alone." They arrived at the Council chambers as the session was beginning. The debate over the Joint Defense Initiative was passionate. Many representatives expressed concern about giving humans more military responsibility. "They have been in space for less than a decade," argued Councillor Dravna. "Their expansion rate is alarming. Precisely why we should formalize our partnership," countered Vexnar. "The humans will explore and expand regardless. Better to do so within our established framework." "And what happens when they surpass even Craxian capabilities?" asked another counselor. The chamber fell silent as Linda stepped forward to speak. "Esteemed Council, I understand your concerns. Humans move quickly, adapt rapidly, and often act in ways that seem reckless to other species. These traits evolved from our history on Earth." She activated a display showing Earth's geological and climate records. Unlike Crax Prime, which has remained consistently harsh but stable for millions of years, Earth has experienced dramatic shifts. Ice ages followed by warming periods, supervolcanoes, asteroid impacts, rapid radiation spikes. Our ancestors never knew what challenge would come next, so we evolved to prepare for anything. The display shifted to show the swarm incursion battle footage, Craxian warships providing powerful defensive lines while smaller, faster human vessels executed high-risk maneuvers to target critical weaknesses. We don't seek to replace Craxian strength or Mabrani wisdom or Talaxian technological precision, Linda continued. We offer something different, the ability to face the unknown and adapt quickly. The galaxy needs both stability and adaptability. After hours of debate, the vote was held. By a narrow margin, the joint initiative was approved. Humans and Craxians would form the core of a new rapid response force, with other species contributing based on their unique capabilities. Later, at the celebration in the Earth Embassy, Vexnar found himself speaking with Scott Phillips about the future of their alliance. "The irony isn't lost on me," said Scott. "Your people spent generations believing you were the ultimate survivors of harsh worlds. And we were wrong," admitted Vexnar. "A humbling realization for any species." "Not wrong," corrected Scott. "Just incomplete in your understanding. You evolved to endure a known harshness. We evolved to survive unknown harshness." A young human child ran past playing with some alien friends. The child tripped and fell hard, scraping her knee. To the amazement of the alien children, she got up, wiped away tears, and continued playing despite the injury. "They're watching," Scott noted, nodding toward the alien children. "They're learning from her response to pain. As we have learned from your species," said Vexnar. "The term Apex Deathworlders has new meaning now." "Is that still your title?" asked Scott with a smile. "No," replied Vexnar. "The Council has officially recognized what many already knew. The galaxy has not one Deathworld species, but two. Different paths, complementary strengths. Beyond the embassy windows, the galactic core glowed with the light of billions of stars. New threats would emerge, new challenges would arise, but for the first time, Vexnar felt genuinely optimistic about the future. The Craxians had evolved to prevent death through physical resilience. Humans had evolved to face death and learn from each encounter. Together, they were redefining what it meant to survive in a dangerous universe. "The humans have a saying," Vexnar remarked. "One I've come to appreciate. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger." Scott nodded. "We say that because it's true, for humans at least." "Perhaps," said Vexnar, "it's true for the galaxy as well.